Hi everyone and welcome back. This is Leah and we're going to talk about unit plans in lesson 3. So as you know, you update or work with your unit plans twice a year. In a February-March timeframe, you log in and you create your plans and make budget requests for the following year. Then in September, you log back in and give your results for the items that you put in for the year that you just completed. So what I want to do today is go in, show you how unit plans have changed in the new planning interface, because there are a lot of changes. So once you log in, and you'll be taken to the sort of home page where you can click on planning, you'll be brought here. And so you can see all of your plan items for whatever you're responsible for. I see everything, that's why this number is so high. But you'll be able to sort of see what is going on in the current year here. However, I think that the best way to approach learning how to use the system is to actually click over here where it says plans. And this is going to give you all of the options that we previously saw in the old interface using tabs. So I know if you sat in with trainings with me before, I had always said with the tabs to start at the top of the screen and work your way down. And so really this is very similar what you're going to be doing again, except all of the things that you're controlling to see what you want to see over here on the right side, you'll be using over here in this left menu panel. So first and foremost, there is never going to be any questioning whether or not you're in the right year. I know that some of you would create unit plans in the wrong year because you had to always hit that blue filter button and choose the correct year, and so sometimes you'd forget to do that and then you're putting stuff in the wrong year. And sometimes it wasn't easy to see that you were in the wrong year. But now it's always going to be very apparent because you have this drop down here. So you are going to be able to see everything in the old strategic plan here. You just won't be able to edit, but you will be able to view because those years are now locked. So, and of course our current strategic plan starts in 2017 and goes to 2022. So it's always going to default to bring you into the current year. So for instance, if you want to take a look at next year's unit plans, you'll just need to choose that year. So next, as far as what you want to look at, you have some choices. So if you click here, strategic plan, once again, it was very similar as the way it was in the tabs previously. Strategic plan, that's the top level. That's Dr. Tobin's level, which encompasses the college's 3 overall goals and the mission and the vision, which you can see over here on this side of the screen. Division plan and strategy, that is the VP level. So I've clicked on academic affairs for Ms. Elmore, and so you'll be able to see all of the strategies that she's responsible for in the new strategic plan. Then underneath we get to unit plans, which is what you all are going to want to take a look at. So once you've chosen your year and your unit plan, then you just use the org chart, which looks a little bit differently than it did before. Now, rather than having sort of that expansion with the plus marks, now you'll just click down until you see what you need to. Now, especially for deans, you will have choices to click down. More than likely, if you're a program coordinator, you aren't going to have a whole lot of these choices that you're seeing here. It's not going to be so many clicks, but certainly if you're a dean, you may have more clicks to make. So under academic affairs, academic departments, then so arts and sciences, I would click here, and as you're seeing, it's expanding and I'm able to see everything that I need to look at. So let's say I was Melissa, I would click on Certificate in Sustainable Agriculture. So once you get down to your program and highlight it in blue, then your current year, or the year that you're looking at, in this case you can always easily see that you're in 1920, these are the unit plan objectives that Melissa has put in for sustainable ag for 1920. So if it's a brand new year, so let's say for instance, we were in 2021, you wouldn't see anything, and that's good because you would need to create a new plan. So over here to the right, you still are going to have a plus sign, so you know, okay, I need to add something. Where is it? Here it is. So you'll still have that possibility, and you'll be able to choose one of two things. You are not going to see these. I only see these just because I'm an administrator. So you're going to see 17 to 22 unit plan objective. That is the unit plan. And you're also going to see a budget request. So in the old system, the budget request feature was a widget inside of the form for the unit plan. This time, it is an entirely separate form. So if you need to buy something, you will need to create so let's say if it's a piece of equipment. You'll need to create a unit plan objective that talks about what you want to do with the piece of equipment. Is it going to give you increased retention? Is it going to help you expand in new courses? Is it going to help with your accreditation to meet those standards? Whatever it may be, you'll create first a unit plan objective and then do a budget request separately. So I'm going to go back to the current year so we can look at all of the fields that are inside of the unit plan objective. Now this hasn't changed. The fields themselves, we had chatted about changes for some of the fields and some of the wording back at our last convocation, and those changes have been made. However, the way you're going to get around in this form is a little bit differently. You'll notice that it's automatically in an edit screen. There's no button that you have to click that says, okay, I want to edit this now. It automatically goes into that edit mode. Another thing is that normally when you were in this edit screen, I would tell you, okay, if somebody calls, go down to the bottom and hit save because this screen could time out. And if you had only typed like half of what you needed to put in, you would lose the rest. Thankfully, now there is an auto save feature. However, I would caution you, just in case you are working from a Wi-Fi connection or you may be at home doing this, even though there is that auto save, I would encourage you to always go down to the bottom and hit the done button, which is now like your save button, just in case because of a connection problem or a little bit of slow connection, your autosave may not have kicked in. Better safe than sorry. And then of course there is a read view for later that you can print from, but you're automatically going to see edit. So the way Compliance Assist has updated these planning forms really is all about saving you clicks, which is very nice. So you'll fill in your information the same way you always have. If you had, say for instance, created a new form, so let's say for instance I went and said, okay, I'm going to create a brand new form, and you'll see that pretty much everything is blank. However, this objective title, you will change this to, let's say your goal is increased retention or whatever. If you don't change this and fill it in and just hit, back or done. So let's say for instance, I don't want to save this. I'm not even going to hit done. Like, I changed my mind. And you just hit back thinking it wouldn't have saved it. Well, it does. It saves it. That's a part of that autosave feature. So just be aware of that. Some of you may say, I decided I didn't want to do that, so I just hit the back button. It's going to save this copy. So that way you can go in later if you want and then just rename it, retention, and then go down all the way to the bottom and hit done. And then you can come back and update it when you want to. But you don't necessarily have to. Now, that was actually a good thing for me to show. you'll notice I changed the name up here of the objective title to retention, but then I tried to hit done, and you'll notice it won't let me. There's that little like no strike through symbol. The reason is because I didn't assign it a number, which is this red asterisk here saying, hey, you've got to have a title and a number in order for this to save your changes. So in this case, this would be test 1. And so now if I go back down, you'll see that it will let me hit the done button. But let's say, for instance, you clicked in, you didn't mean to, you can certainly always go back and, get rid of it by just hitting delete, which is down here where it was before. There were other buttons previously over here. One of them was delete. This time it's just over here on the left, and it always asks you, are you sure you want to delete this? And so, which I like, because sometimes you'll be in a hurry. You'll hit something you didn't mean to. So, but yeah, so for the most part, the functionality is the same, just you're going to click into things a little bit differently. So also previously, you had to click on related items. Let's say, for instance, you want to go ahead and relate this unit plan objective to a strategy at the VP level. So in this case, at Ms. Donna Elmore's level, this objective has been tied to it. This is where you'll do it. It looks a little bit different, but it is exactly the same. Many of you don't do this because I will always go behind and do this for you. I will always make that relationship for you. And furthermore, you'll be given the opportunity to fill in this answer to tell me if you don't end up doing the relationship. You have to answer this as a part of the new unit plan form, so I will know how to go ahead and relate it to 1.9, which is what you would have chosen previously. So a quick overview of these fields. You have to have a number and a title. If you're new to creating unit plans, what we usually do is just the abbreviation of your program, and then put a dash and just start numbering 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. That's how we number them, just so it's a little bit easier as I'm meeting with you or doing training, so I can say, oh, number 1, number 2, etc. You're also going to need a short title that's probably under 50 characters or so, just to give us an overview of what you're talking about. The objective, that is the same. Now, depending on what division you're in, so let's say, for instance, you work in HR, so you would use whatever division you are in. You only fill out one of these. If you're in academic affairs, you choose one from the drop down. If you work in student services, you would leave all the others blank, and you would choose from this drop down, etc. So remember, you don't have to fill all of those in. Once again, we have baseline. You're always going to be presented with a number, percent, and a text. You'll always fill out the text, and then if you are measuring yourself by a number, you can either fill in the percent or the number field depending on if you need it. So as far as other new fields, we've sort of changed the questions here. So for use of results, we've given you more information about how to more clearly answer the question. So that's not necessarily a new field, but it does give you a little bit more info. And then everything is pretty much the same as far as the unit plan is concerned. So as always, you can certainly call me and sit with me, and we'll do this face-to-face. But this is a brief overview of the new interface that you'll use for unit plans in Compliance Assist.